you just talk about your team selection for this weekend, and in particular the return of Jordan Larmour and Ryan Baird to the starting team?
It's important to get some of those guys back in. Two very good players, so important. Ryan's has been available. It's tight with some of those selections over the last couple of weeks, but he just needs to get a game under his belt. He played actually he got 40 minutes last week against that university's team, so it was important for him there. Try and push on now for guys. Jordan as well, was unlucky, got really close to playing, and then had a little minor setback, and anyway he's back now, so hopefully he cracks on and is able to finish out the season well.
When did you make up your mind as to what your likely team selection for this week was going to be, vis-a-vis the fact that you have a Champions Cup final next week?
It's still a very big game for us regardless, because there's a big crowd will turn up, and it's important that the lads represents the club well. So there's a nice mix in the team. A number of guys, they will be finishing with Leinster at the end of this season. That's the same for a lot of teams out there, as we know. And then there's some young players as well that are really keen to push on. And it's a massive big step up if you think you're playing in the Aviva with a big crowd and all the rest. So I think it's just a brilliant opportunity. The young guys, over the course of the season, if you look at it, have done an incredible job in getting us to this position where it's not a must-win game, but when you play at home, you still it's a want-to-win game. You want to win the game and you want to play well. More importantly, so that's been the bit we've tried to focus on with the group. But I have to applaud all the lads. The way they've conducted themselves this season, the younger players in particular, and take away the guys that have been away with Ireland, so they go out, play their test matches, and they come back in. So if you're sort of taking that group out of it, and then the rest of the group, which is a mix of some experienced guys that you see in the team, and a lot of young guys, so they've served the group well and the team well over the course of the season. So it's in many ways it's a great reward for them to be able to play in the Aviva with a big crowd against a very, very good team and a very experienced team. So it's a great challenge, really. So we're just trying to weigh up, there's multiple factors that go into all these selections, as I'm sure you're well aware. I think we've got an exciting group. We just want to get out there again and play and see what they can do. It's not going to be easy. We know it's going to be tough. Munster have a hell of a lot more experience, in terms of their cohesion and all the rest. They've had an extra week in terms of preparation coming into the game as well. So it's all those little things we know can potentially make a difference. But it's still an exciting group from our point of view.
Just a final question from me. Earlier in the week, Felipe said that he thought that Munster had improved since the last time you'd played them. Do you agree with that? And what did you make of the recent performance against Toulouse vis-a-vis playing you tomorrow?
Yeah, they're definitely trying to play more for certain than the traditional game, shall we say. But yeah, they're definitely making progress for sure. So as we said, they've a lot of experience through the team. Even with a couple of those guys coming back in, the likes of Andrew Conway, is one that sort of definitely stands out. It's going to be a right ding-dong battle, I'm sure. I think you saw the mindset. If you think particularly around that Rainbow Cup game last year, where we were missing some players as well, bit of a mixed team, where they come very, very physical against us. So that'll always be in the DNA, I guess, of their team. It's important that we're aware of all the threats. We come to this stage of the season, the better teams have multiple ways of playing the game. That's something you've always be aware of. So they're trying to spread the ball more than they have done in the past. So we'll see and try and be able to adapt to whatever pictures they throw at us on the day.
Good man, thanks very much.
Hi, Leo. Just one from me. It's unusual that you're going to play in a Champions Cup final against a team whose manager or whose head coach is in the Irish media so much that he has a column in a paper, he has a regular spot on a radio show, and you're always on with Leinster's preparation that don't leave any stone unturned. As a matter of course, do you look at his press conferences? Do you read his columns to see if there's anything you can glean at all, or are you a bit wary of stuff that might come out publicly that he's not thinking in reality?
I would definitely be wary of anything that's there for sure. Is that the polite way of saying it? I would be very wary of anything that the coach of La Rochelle says in his media, because I'm sure he knows exactly what's going on in his own world versus what he wants to put out there in the world. So, yes, I would take certain things with a pinch of salt for sure.
But I mean, do you go out of your way to read this column in case there's something there that you can glean? You can read between the lines at some stage.
Like at this stage, you really got to focus on yourself. Like, it's very easy to get distracted by the outcome piece. So for us, we've got to go through our own rituals that we go through all the time in terms of getting ready for games, and particularly big games. We've a group of players. Like, it's very easy to think about, okay, well, what's it going to be like at the end of the game? It's only so relevant. Like, you got to be able to build your way into any game, and that starts at the start of the week quite often. So preparing well leads to performing well is what we always say. So for us, that's what we try to spend most of our time focusing on, getting our own stuff right, so we can impose our game on the opposition. Obviously whoever you play, whether it's Munster this week or La Rochelle next week, everyone will come up with a plan about how to stop a team and how they get into their rhythm, so to speak. So it's I guess having some level of understanding what's the DNA of that team that you're up against, what will they try to do, etc., etc. So if you think back to this time last year, obviously we played La Rochelle and losing the semi-final. They've a lot of top-end world-class players in their ranks. In terms of, obviously, John O'Gibbs was there as well, so he was, obviously there's the Raj we're talking about here, but John was there last year in terms of the group and squad that he had started to assemble. Obviously he's gone off to Claremont now, but particularly very strong Kiwi influence as well. If you think Vito, he's 7, where he's sort of playing 6, whatever. Sometimes he was like at 8 in New Zealand. Kurt Barlow was as a All Black 9 as well, and West, so another Kiwi 10. So that kind of access to their team. Jono's inside knowledge. So there's always a bit of that goes on. But again, what can you do? It's understanding what people know, I guess. Understanding what the team threats that we're up against. Like when we play these Leinster Munster games, the guys know each other unbelievably well. A lot of them, would spend a lot of time in camp. They have a very good understanding of the way they think as players. But you still got to go out and get your own stuff right and execute your own game plan, whether that's attack and defence. So nothing really changes in that regard.
Just thinking, so it was such a constant performance against Toulouse in the semi-final. When you are watching the game tomorrow and you're selecting the team, how much room is there for players tomorrow to play their way into the 23-man squad for the final?
Well, everyone has to be ready for anything. Anything can happen. Unbelievably unfortunate injury for Tommy O'Brien, as an example. But he's running in the team and training when that happened. You know what I mean? So just to give you an indication, it's at this time of year. This is where you if a player steps up and goes incredibly well, it's very hard to ignore that. So for our guys, just need to focus on themselves, delivering a big performance for the team, not for themselves, for the team, because that's when the team will be at its best. So for guys, it's not about themselves at this moment in time, it's about delivering their job for the team. It's an unbelievable opportunity for a number of our guys. And some guys are very close. Some guys have been in the match day 23 in the Toulouse game that you're talking about in the semi-finals. So, as in we know, some of those guys, had an involvement against Toulouse already. So, other guys get a chance to showcase what they can do. So, like every week, we see the guys all the time. So, as I said, it's an exciting group that we have, and we're as a bunch of coaches excited to see how they get on. Because some of them have been itching for an opportunity now for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and just in that regard, is it almost like a perfect matchup with Munster playing for a home semi-final? It'll be a real test for players to really get stuck into and show you and demonstrate to the coaching staff that, if we are selected, that we can put our hand up. it's better than with a dead rubber. Like, it's a real test for them to prove themselves.
Yeah, exactly, and that's going back to like not getting distracted by the outcome piece, because like based on some of the great work that's happened here over the first 17 games, where we're missing the international players for a big chunk of that time. So there's the young players, a lot of them academy players. 59 players have been used in the 17 rounds so far, or whatever it is over the course of the season so far. So the young guys, some mixed with some experienced guys that have been with us for the course of the year. So to get us in a situation where we are 6 points clear of second place, so we're not actually that worried about the outcome. So for us, then it's just focusing on what will deliver a big performance, and then we can see where everyone stacks up at the end of that. Other teams, they're all looking around at each other. So I'm happy that we're not in that situation, because then you get very fixated on all these other permutations that are going on. So that's the beauty about, I suppose, the situation we find ourselves in. So for our guys, it's about just delivering the best game that they can for the team. So again, as I said, that's why we're excited about it. We think we've got a good mix there. It's going to be a great challenge against as I said, very experienced Munster team. But there's lots in it for the fans, hopefully, as well, that show up on the day. Marcus said there's a couple of tickets left as well, if you want to get in there quick.
Just a quick one, really. I'm just wondering, in terms of the fact that you're on top of the URC table, and it's not a must-win game tomorrow against Munster, but also you don't want to lose it. But is it? I'm trying to word this. Is it a better position that you are in on top of the table, and then going into the week of the final of the European Cup? Just wondering your mindset on it.
Well, with the way URC, the way the playoffs are, like if you're drawn down going to South Africa, it's just that last minute scramble to travel away. So like that's going to be a distraction for the teams that find themselves in that situation, if they find themselves in that situation. So for us, like it's not like a must-win game, but it's for the individuals. I think it's a must-play well game, because if you think it's the final of Europe, then you're into a quarter-final of the URC the week after. So it's for guys to put their hand up and go, as in, I'm playing well for the team. So must play well for the team. I've just made that up on the spot, but it's I think that's important. If you understand in the bigger context of what's coming up in the next few weeks. So there's obviously a selection next week for a final, then there'll be a selection the week after for a quarter final. So for guys, yeah, it's a great window for them to showcase what they can do.